ready. We're prepared. Do not give in to fear. We are fearless. This is not the time to be afraid. This is a time to stand up and fight back and to resist any temptation for them to divide us. We're in this together. The rule of law is on our side. We will not give in, not give up. We will not capitulate. We will not bow. We will not bend. We will survive.
There's a lot of destruction this weekend. Flooding and storms. 109, I think, and counting, 109 people across 6 counties in Texas. Some people are saying they seeded the storm. I don't know. You got the knuckle dragging Neanderthal, Marjorie Taylor Greene, talking about, using this to combat forest fires. You don't know enough. You're not smart enough to open your mouth and have words come out of them. But unfortunately, people voted for her in Georgia, and hopefully they'll show up to not vote for her next time, because she is a disaster. And I wish dumb people would stop talking. That said, Kerr County officials reported 84 of those deaths, 56 adults, 28 children. I think most of those were at Camp Mystic, which we'll talk about. There's still a search. There's still people missing. Floods hit North Carolina as well. I mean, massive floods we're seeing all over this country. The weather, and we could say this Mother Nature, because that's what Ted Cruz said. The senator from Texas, who I don't know why y'all keep electing this man. Why is he still in Congress? He is such a horrible human being. It's God's will. It's not, because the reason why so many people died is because they didn't know it was coming, because we don't have reliable weather anymore, because we have a knuckle-dragging Neanderthal in the White House who could care less about you. He could care less about me. He doesn't care about anybody but himself and his pockets and the pockets of the people around him, and fee-fi-fo-fumming over everybody in this country and the world. He doesn't care. So he fired the people, the scientists, because in Project 2025, they want to eliminate this notion of climate change, because, what you don't know won't hurt you. It's so stunning that we are living in such an anti-intellectual time that people don't want to know things, that they rather just run their mouths or put their heads in the sand. But people are dying. And today it's these people, 109 people who had loved ones and family members, a lot of them children who had a life that they wanted to live. They were at camp. Tomorrow it could be you. So I think, it's time for us to grow the F up. Okay. Firing weather because we don't need somebody to predict the weather. Yeah, we spent decades and decades on all of the meteorological science technology to be able to predict earthquakes. Seismologists are out there. They went to school to study these things, to know when their volcano may erupt, when the next storm is coming, so they can tell people to evacuate, to get out. They may not be able to stop the storm, but damn it, we could save some lives. And shouldn't that be the goal? So Camp Mystic lost all of those children. Camp counselors, 27 campers and counting. 10 girls were still missing at the time that I, typed up my little report here, my little script for today. And while this was all going on in Texas, Trump was out gallivanting, golfing, doing anything but. You know who was helping? Mexico's president, Claudia Sheinbaum. Mexico's president, because, Texas was once part of Mexico, but y'all, borders and history, none of that matters, right? She sent a group of firefighters and rescue personnel to help search for flood victims in Texas. She didn't have to do that. And she's been demonized and vilified. And if she were in this country, she'd probably be in an encampment or Alcatraz or someplace, Auschwitz, some Auschwitz-like place, because, she's not a person. But, she sent a group from Alcuna, Mexico. I think that's how you say that, located just south of the border, Del Rio, Texas. And the team arrived Sunday morning. Hey, where was the border control? So you let them in? Oh, because they're coming to help. Yep. So there's that. Officials are casting blame, of course, on the National Weather Service for failing to forecast. But is it their fault if they were fired among the government agencies targeted by DOGE which now is a disaster because the person that was heading up Doge is fighting with the president. Like, we're in chaos. And we didn't vote for this, by the way. Those of you listening, I'm just super frustrated that we're going to see, and we've been saying this, more lives lost, more lives cost. And we haven't even gotten to the fun part when Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, all those things, because they're going to wait till after the midterms when we, of course, don't have a momentum of memory. If we don't catch the House and the Senate, we may never see another vote, period. And all of this other pain is coming after that because it's all set up. It's all in this Project 2025, which few of us read or know about. We just know the numbers, but we don't know what's in it. Yeah, we're in a time. We're in a time right now. So that's something. Let me play a clip or two because it shouldn't just be me. You should hear from actual news reporters of what's going on out there. The Florida meteorologist. Let's play him first. John Morales. Play that, Smith.
When is it going to turn? John, it's not turning. It's coming straight to us. It's going to turn. All right? The turn was never forecast to be on Sunday. The turn isn't even on Monday morning. The turn will come Monday afternoon, Monday evening, into Tuesday. Remember that? That was about 6 years ago. That was Hurricane Dorian, as it was absolutely devastating the Northwest Bahamas as a Category 5, sat over that region for 2 days. It was headed straight west. Lots of people in Florida were concerned the hurricane was heading here. And as you've grown accustomed to my presentations over my 34 years in South Florida newscasts, confidently, I went on TV and I told you, it's going to turn. You don't need to worry. It is going to turn. And I am here to tell you that I am not sure I can do that this year because of the gutting, the sledgehammer attack on science in general, and I could talk about that for a long, long time, and how that is affecting the U.S. Leadership in science over many years, and how we're losing that leadership, and this is a multi-generational impact on science in this country, all right? But specifically, let's talk about the federal government cuts to the National Weather Service and to NOAA. Did you know that Central and South Florida National Weather Service offices are currently basically 20 to 40% understaffed? From Tampa to Key West, including the Miami office, 20 to 40% understaffed. Now, this type of staffing shortage is having impacts across the nation because there's been a nearly 20% reduction in weather balloon launches that carry those radiosondes. And what we're starting to see is that the quality of the forecasts is becoming degraded. There's also a chance, because of some of these cuts, that NOAA Hurricane Hunter aircraft will not be able to fly this year, and with less reconnaissance missions, we may be flying blind. And we may not exactly know how strong a hurricane is before it reaches the coastline, like happened a couple of years ago in Hurricane Otis in Acapulco, Mexico. So I was asked to talk about this today. I'm glad I was. I just want you to know that what you need to do is call your representatives and make sure that these cuts are stopped. Back to you.
Thank you. John Morales, 34 years. He can no longer be trusted because he has no reliable sources to rely on to tell you. This is not just a newsreader, a meteorologist. This is a guy that studies. He's a scientist. So Texas officials are already casting blame on the National Weather Service for this recent disaster that killed so many people. The National Weather Service was among the government agencies targeted, as I mentioned, by Doge. The original forecast that they received on Wednesday from the National Weather Service predicted 3 to 6 inches of rain in Concho Valley, 4 to 8 inches in the hill country. That's not what happened. It was horrific. The flooding of the Guadalupe River, horrific. In May, all 5 living directors of the NWS, of the National Weather Service, issued a letter warning Trump that these cuts would, quote, leave the nation's official weather forecasting entity at a significant deficit, just as we head into the busiest time for severe storm predictions, like tornadoes and hurricanes, the directors wrote. All 5 of them. Our worst nightmare is that weather forecast offices will be so understaffed that there will be needless loss of life. Well, we are here. We are here. And as John Morales said, call your congressperson. All of you use that 5 calls app. Let's go. Let's get busy. Let's flood them. 866-801-8255. But is this the plan? As I mentioned before, chaos and destruction. Is this the plan? CNN reported the National Weather Service is in the worst shape than previously known. Layoffs, retirements, pre-existing vacancies. CNN reported in April the Trump administration planned to close weather research labs, climate research programs meant to improve weather detection and climate warns. Budget proposal was more recently submitted to Congress in Project 2025. The conservative, of course, blueprint called for much less federal spending on weather forecasting and more reliable on private companies as if. And of course, we know FEMA's future is in question. So if a disaster comes through, you have nobody to call. He told Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who worked for him, I'm not sending any aid. So we already know what's going down. This is very, very sad and disheartening. But to me, I think it's an opportunity to actually double down on what we need now more than ever, each other. I was watching something on one of these TikToks or Instagram or something, and there was a discussion about socialism, as they try to really, really, really come down on Mamdani, who, should be mayor of New York if all things go the way they should, right? Well, oh boy, are they trying to up in this young man. And it's the socialism thing that keeps coming over and over again. And if you are Black in America, socialism is something that you should be very familiar with. It comes in the form of rent parties and the ways in which we've always showed up. I've told this story many times. My mother living in the projects of Augusta, Georgia, and her mom sent her next door to borrow an egg from a neighbor who had 5 children. She said, a whole egg? She got 5 kids to feed. But this is how we move forward, right? We borrowed a cup of sugar here, an egg there, some flour from somebody. We were able to eat and survive, not thrive, but we were able to eat because we figured out that community is everything. It's everything. And while we won't have a government to depend on, we will not have a government to depend on. We will not have a government to depend on. We will have each other. And that's the way forward. As Mary Frances Berry said last week, community, number one. That's the number one resistance that we have towards what's happening right now.
We're ready. We're prepared. Do not give in to fear. We are fearless. This is not the time to be afraid. This is a time to stand up and fight back and to resist any temptation for them to divide us. We're in this together. The rule of law is on our side. We will not give in, not give up. We will not capitulate. We will not bow. We will not bend. We will